Students, good day. Today we're going to create your laboratory activity number 4 for this lesson, modifying tables and field. So let's start with your project 4-1 home inventory. You decide to use Access to create a home inventory database for insurance purpose to include all the information you need to add several fields to the existing table. So let's get ready and launch Access if it is not already running, and of course follow these simple steps to create the database. So instruction number 1, open the home inventory database from the data files for this lesson. So in our Access backstage view, let's click open button and then locate our project 4 data files. In our project 4 data files, we're going to select home inventory and click open. Make sure to click Enable Content. Next, instruction number 2, save the database as home inventory XXX, where the XX is your initial. So let's go to File, Save Database As. Okay. So in order to save the database, let's close first your home inventory list. So to close this, all you have to do is click on the Form tab and then click Close. Next, let's go again to your file, Save Database As, and we're going to save this as home inventory and then our initial. Let's create a folder for our answer. And just click Save. And then click Enabled Content. Next, instruction number 3, close the home inventory list form that is open. So what we're going to do is, in our home inventory list tab, right click and then close. Next, instruction number 4, in the navigation pane, double click the asset table to open. So in our navigation pane, we're going to double click the asset table to open the object. Next, instruction number 5, horizontally scroll to the end of the table and click in the cell below the click to add header. So what we're going to do is scroll our horizontal scroll bar until we reach the end of our table. Next, instruction number 6, on the table tools field contextual tab and add and delete group, click the More Fields button and click Yes or No in the Yes or No category. A column named Field 1 is created. So first, let's click to add, and of course this is our click to add header, so we have to activate that. And in our table tools fields, add and delete group, okay, more fields, we're going to select yes or no from the category. So yes or no, and we have created the field 1 fields. Next, instruction number 7, on the table tool fields contextual tab in the properties group, click the name and caption button. So let's go to, while the field is selected, let's go to table tools field properties group, name and caption. So, instruction number 8, key insured in the rename the field 1 column. So in the field 1 column, in our dialog box, we're going to key in insured. So insured, and just click OK. And then scroll at the end, so we are able to rename our yes or no field insured. Next, instruction number 9, click the cell below the click to add header. So again, click to add header, we're going to click this one, and on the table tool field contextual tab, in the add and delete group, click the more fields button and click attachment in the basic types category to create an attachment field. So what we're going to do is, let's go to your table tools, fields group, fields tab, add and delete group, more field, and then select attachment from the category. And we are able to create a field attachment for our table. Instruction number 10, close the database. So what we're going to do is click our close button to close the database. Okay, so let's proceed with your project 4-2, customer service. You are employed in the customer service department of the city Power and Light. Each call that is received is recorded in the Access database. Because you know how to modify tables and fields, your supervisor asked you to add a lookup column to the calls table to record the customer service representative who received the call. So let's get ready and launch our Access. In our Backstage view, we're going to click Open. And of course, we're going to locate our Project 4 data files. And in our Project 4 data files, we're going to click Customer Service and click Open. Next, we're going to click Enable Content. Then, instruction number 2, save the database as Customer Service XXX, where the XX is our initial. So let's go to File, Save Database as Customer Service, and then our initial, and save this in our answer folder and click Save. Again, click Enabled Content. Next, instruction number 3, close case list from form that is open. So there is no form open in our database, so we can skip this instruction. Instruction number 4, in the navigation pane, double-click the calls table to open it and place the insertion point in the first cell in the table if necessary. So in our navigation pane, we're going to select and double-click Call Tables to open the object, and then we're going to place our insertion point at the first column of the table. Next, instruction number 5, on the Table Tools field contextual tab, in the Add and Delete group, click More Field button, and then click the Lookup and Relationship button. The Lookup wizard should appear. So let's go to our Table Tools, Field tabs, Add and Delete group, More Field, and of course we're going to click Lookup and Relationship. And of course, the Lookup wizard dialog box appears on our screen. Next, we're going to click Next button. Instruction number 7, select Table Employees and click Next. So we're going to select Table Employees from our options and then click Next. Instruction number 8, in the available field list, select the first name and then click the right pointing button or the greater than button to move it to the selected field box. So we're going to select the first name and click this button to move the selected item in the selected fields. Next, instruction number 9, in the available field list, select last name, then click the button to move it to the selected field list. So next is the last name, and of course click to the selected field. Next, click Next to display the next screen in the Lookup wizard. So we're going to click Next. Then instruction number 13, click the next button again to display the final screen in the lookup wizard. So we're going to click next again and another next. Instruction number 14, in the what label would you like for your lookup field box, key in service rep. So what label would you like for your lookup field? We're going to key in service rep. Instruction number 15, click the finish button. A new column named service rep appears on the second column of the table. So we're going to click finish. And of course, we are able to create a new field. In the second column of our table with the caption service rep. Next, click the down arrow and choose Claire Hector from the list. So what we're going to do is we're going to click the cell under the service rep header and click the drop down menu. And we're going to select Claire Hector. Leave the database open for the next project. Okay, so let's proceed with your project 4-3, modify field property. Your supervisor at the City Power and Lights asks you to make some modifications on the field properties in the calls table of the customer service database. So we are going to use our database from the previous exercise. And of course, follow the simple steps to finish the database. Now we are in our customer service database from our previous exercise. So first we're going to close this table. This is an additional instruction. So first we're going to close this table. Then let's go to file and save database as. So we're going to save this in our answer. So we're going to save this as 4-3, just to indicate that this is our answer for our project 4-3, and just click enabled content. Next, double click on the calls table in our navigation pane to open the object. So let's start with your instruction number 1, switch to design view. So to do this, all we have to do is click on the tab of the calls table and then select design view. Next, instruction number 2, display the lookup field property for the service rep field. So first, to do this, click on the service rep field name, and then below our field property, click the lookup tab. Next, instruction number 3, change the allow multiple value property to yes and confirm the change. So we're going to select allow multiple values, then we're going to change this into yes. Press enter to accept the changes and just click yes. Next, display the general field property for the call time field. So what we're going to do is just click the call time field name, then click general tab in our field property. Instruction number 5, change the validation rule property so that the value must be greater than January 1, 2000. So in our validation rules, we are going to change the validation rule to January 1, 2000. Next, Instruction number 6, change the validation text property to say, please enter a value that is greater than January 1, 2000. So this is our validation text. So we're going to enter value must be greater than January 1, 2000. Next, instruction number 7, display the general field properties for the color field. So again, click the color field name and then click general tab in our field properties. And we're going to change the field size property to 60. So field size, change this into 60 and press enter. Next, display the general field property for notes field. So we're going to select notes field and then we're going to change the allow zero length property to yes. So we're going to click our general tab in our field property and then we're going to select allow zero length and change the value into yes and just press enter. Next, change the append only property to yes. So we're going to find the append only property and change this into yes and just press enter. Next, save the table and if a data integrity message appears, click yes. So to save the table, we are going to right click on our table tab, then click save. The data integrity dialog box appears. We're just going to click no. Next, instruction number 13, close the database. So let's press our close button to close the database. Next, let's proceed with your project 4-4, modify database tables. You work as the operation manager at the Alpine Ski House and decided to increase your efficiency by using Access to plan the annual race event. You have started to create a database to manage the events sponsored by the company but need to modify the table. So let's get ready and launch our Access. In our backstage view, click open. Then we're going to locate our project 4 data files and we're going to click select Alpine database and click open. Then click enabled content. Next, save the database as Alpine XXX where the XX is our initial. So let's go to file, save database as, then Alpine, then our initial, and save this in our answer folder and click save. And click enabled content. Next, close the event list form that is open. So right now we don't have the open form in our database, so we're going to skip this instruction. Number 4, delete the Nordic events table and confirm the action. So we have your navigation pane and in our supporting object, select Nordic events, right click and then click delete. Or remove. Next, rename the World Cup table to Championship. So we're going to select the World Cup table, right click, then rename shortcut. So we're going to rename this as Championship and press enter. Next, open the events table and switch to design view. So click the events table, double click to open the object And then on the Events tab, we're going to right click and then choose Design View. Next, in the description property box, key in annual events. So we have your field name, description, and in the description property box, we're going to key in annual events and press enter. Instruction number 9, close the database and leave access open for the next project. So to close the database, just click your close button. Just click yes to confirm the changes. Okay, so let's proceed with your project 4-5, changing list items. You are the owner of the Coho Vineyard and Winery, a growing company that is converting all its data from spreadsheet to Access. You created a table using asset table template but need to make some modification before you enter information in the database. So let's get ready and launch our Access. In our Backstage view, click Open button and then locate our project data files. In our project data files, select Coho Database and click Open. And then click Enabled Content. Instruction number 2, save the database as Kuhu XX, where the XX is our initial. So let's go to File, Save Database As, save it as Kuhu, and then save it in our answer. And just click Save. And then again, click Enabled Content. Instruction number 3, open the red wine table and create a new lookup field as the last field in the table that uses the country field in the countries table. Specify an ascending sort order for the records in this field. So to do this, let's start with your navigation pane. Double click on red wine table to open the object. Next, horizontally scroll until at the end of our table. Click the cell at click to add header. And then let's go to your table tools, fields, add more fields. Next, select lookup and relationship. So in our lookup wizard, we're going to click next. And then we're going to click or select table countries and select next. In available field, select country and double click to move the selection in our selected field and click next. In our what sort order do you want from the items in your list box, we're going to specify ascending. And we're going to select country and just click next. And of course, we're going to click next. And what label would you like for your lookup field? We're going to select or we're going to key in origin. And then click finish. So we are able to create a new field for our table with the name origin. Next, instruction number 5, rename the current value field to the market value. So we have your current value field. Select, right click, and then select rename field. And we're going to key in market value and press enter in our keyboard to save the changes. So we have your market value. Next, rename the acquired date to field to acquisition date. So in our acquired field, right click and then rename field, and we're going to rename this as acquisition date. and press enter. Next, create a yes/no field as the last field in the table named stack with a caption named in stack. So to do this, let's horizontally scroll until the end of our table and click to add. Then we're going to select yes/no from the selection. And we're going to name this field as in stack and press enter to accept the changes. Now we are able to create the last field in our table with the name in stack. Next, save the table. So instruction number 8, save the table. So in our read wine tab, right click and then click save. Next, instruction number 9, close the database. Instruction number 9, close the table. So right click then close. And of course, instruction number close the database. So right click and then close. Next, lending library. You have an extensive personal library that the friends and family frequently ask to share. To keep track of all your books, you decided to use Access to create a lending library database. So again, let's get ready and launch our Access. In our backstage view, click Open button. And then we're going to locate our Project 4 data files. And then we're going to select our lending library database and click Open. Then click Enable Content. And of course, we're going to close the asset list. So right click on the tab, then close. Next, we're going to save our database as lending library XXX, where the XX is our initial. So let's go to File, Save Database as lending library, and our initial, and save this in our folder and click Save. Next, click Enabled Content. Next, close the asset list. So right click on the asset list and click Close. Next, instruction number 3, modify the field of the asset table. So we're going first to select our asset table in our supporting objects found in our navigation pane, then double click to open the table. And we're going to switch into design view. So right click on the asset tab and select design view. Next, we're going to require a value for acquired days, date, purchase price, current value, and model. So let's start with your acquired date. So select the acquired date in our field name. Then in our field properties general tab, required property, change the value into yes and press enter. Next, let's go to your purchase price. Then in the general tab, required property, change the value into yes and press enter. Next, we have your current value. So select the current value in our field name, and the required property of the general tab, let's change the value into yes and press enter. Next, let's go with your model. So click on the model field name, and in the general tab of the field property, select required and change the value into yes and press enter. Next, modify the field size for model into 10. So while the model is selected, change the field size property from 50 into 10 and press enter. And of course, modify the validation rule for acquired date to only allow for values after December 31, 1999, and the validation text to value must be greater than December 31, 1999. So let's go to your acquired date, and in our general tab of the field properties, in our validation rule, we're going to change this into greater than December 31, 1999. So greater than December, so that is 12 31 1999, and press enter. Also, we're going to change the validation text into value must be greater than December 31 1999, and again press enter to accept the changes. Next, modify the append only property for comments and to no. So we have your field name comments, and we are going to modify the append only property. So let's go to field properties, general tab, append only property, and change the value yes into no, and press enter to accept the changes. Instruction number 4, close the database. So click your close button to close your database and just click yes. And that's it. We are through with your project 4-6 lending library. For your project 4, you are expected to pass the following database as the requirement for this subject: your Alpine Kuhu, customer service, your answer for project 4-3, and your customer service, your home inventory, and of course your lending library. And that's it for your laboratory activity number 4, project 4, modifying tables and fields. Thank you, students, for your time, and see you again in our next project.